Guys, it is Terrificon this weekend, just a few days until I leave for, Connecticut and Mohegan Sun. I'm going to meet my best friend Josh there. It's going to be so much fun. I have a stack like this big. I have so many books that I am planning to get signed. Well, it's not that big. Well, it is actually that big, but I'm going to whittle it down to something a little bit more reasonable, but I'm so excited to meet all these amazing creators that's going to be at Terrificon this weekend. I'm just pumped. I'm excited. I'm also excited about all the new comic books that are coming out this week on New Comic Book Day. So let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and dive into today's video. What is going on, comic book fans? Guys, welcome back to the channel, and it's time for another Wednesday poll list, which is your hype video for New Comic Book Day. And this week's New Comic Book Day is August 14th of 2024. Guys, I'm going to cover all the books that are on my pull list. I'm going to talk about all the best covers of the week, the best stories of the week, and like I said, I'm going to cover every single book that's on my pull list this week. So let's not waste any more time. You guys know exactly what this video is all about. It's getting you pumped and excited about the books that are on my pull list. So let's not waste any more time and check out that pull list. Alright, as you guys can see, I'm back at it. Last week only had 14 books on the pull list, but this obviously isn't 14. But you guys can't see what those books are, so let me go and throw them up on screen right now. Guys, there are a total of 23 books on my pull list. There are 3 new #1s, 7 DC books, 7 Marvel books, and 8 independent titles. It's kind of like pretty much evenly spread out among all the publishers. But guys, there are 3 books on the chopping block this week. That's right, guys. We're going to talk about why those books hit the chopping block this week in just a second. But before we get to the chopping block, I just want to let you guys know I did read the previous issue to every single book except one. And that one book cannot make the top 3 list. So let's go ahead and move right over to the chopping block. Now, as some of you guys know, I did recently pick up a new pickup truck, and that monthly payment is a little bit more than my previous vehicle, so I need to pull some money from my comic book budget to cover that difference. So that means I need to cut down on my monthly reads, so some of these books are hitting the chopping block for that reason, because I need to reduce my overall spending. But the other reason they're on the chopping block, because the story just really isn't that good. So let's go ahead and find out what 3 books have hit the chopping block this week, and I'll let you guys know why. Alright guys, first up is Absolute Power Task Force 7 issue number whatever it is. I'm just cutting this whole series. I'm not even going to pick up the covers that I really like because this series just isn't a good read. I'm not enjoying it. It's changing creators every single issue and it's just not that interesting to me. So this book has officially been chopped from the pull list. Now guys, next up is Dick Tracy issue number 4. Now I'm sadly cutting this from my pull list because I need to reduce budget. The story is okay, and normally I would continue reading this series, but I really need to start cutting back on books I'm not absolutely in love with to help me hit the budget that I have for comic books. So Dick Tracy, I'm sorry, you have been chopped for budgetary reasons. Alright guys, and last up is Action Comics. Now Action Comics issue number 1068 comes out this week. I've already pre-ordered the next 2 issues, I believe, maybe more. But this does have a new creative team on the book of Gail Simone and Eddie Barrows. They're writing the main story. There is a backup story that was a lot better. It was actually written by Rainbow Rowell, and that was actually really good. But the main story by Gail Simone I did not like, and she's going to be the main writer on this book, and this book is also turning into a weekly. I don't like that. I don't like when comics become a weekly because it takes so much out of my budget, and if the story is not rock solidly, amazingly awesome, it just becomes a drain on my overall comic budget. So Action Comics, I'm sorry to say, you have officially been chopped for story and budgetary reasons. Alright guys, those are the books that hit the chopping block this week. Let's go ahead and move over to something a lot more positive with my cover lover picks. Alright guys, there are some amazing covers coming out this week. We're talking ratio covers, we're talking cover A's, variant covers, and exclusive covers, and I'm gonna cover them all for you. So let's dive right in. And the first one up is The Amazing Spider-Man issue number 55. Now this is an exclusive. There is a trade dress in a Virgin, and it's coming from 616 Comics, Fandom Comic Shop, and Comic Traders. Now this is a connecting variant done by Ivan Talavera, and I think I kind of like the trade dress over the Virgin. They changed the color of the background to give you the difference, but either way, The main image on this cover featuring Silk is so freaking good. I love this exclusive. All right, guys, next up we have Fantastic Four issue number 23 with the variant cover done by Alexander Lozano. I've been talking about this cover ever since it was on previews. It's freaking fantastic. I freaking love this cover. I'm definitely ordering a couple copies for myself because I want to make sure I have a 9.8 candidate because I would love to get Alexander to sign this and slab it. I love that stuff. I love slabbing covers that I just absolutely love, and this one is definitely a candidate to get slabbed. All right, guys, next up is Gotham City Sirens, issue number 2 with the cover C, done by Ji Hung Lee. Gorgeous. This whole 4-series set is so gorgeous. This is the second issue. First is Catwoman. Second, obviously we got Harley Quinn. Next, after that is Poison Ivy, and then Punchline rounds out the whole set. It's just gorgeous. It's gonna look so gorgeous next to each other up on a wall somewhere. Maybe not my wall, but maybe it could be yours. All right, guys, next up is a really cool cover. This is Iron Fist, the 50th anniversary special, issue number 1 with the variant cover done by David Aja. I'm a big David Aja fan, and this cover featuring the Iron Fist that uses guns and then the regular Iron Fist on the cover, so good. All right, guys, next up is an awesome cover. This is Kill All Immortals issue number 2 with the cover B variant done by Ivan Tao. Now, I don't love everything that Ivan Tao does, but this one is so good. I don't know why I did the kissing sound. I got a little overzealous, I guess, but this cover is so good. All right, guys, next up is a beautiful, gorgeous cover. It is Red Sonja, Empire of the Damned, number 5, the cover E, which is a Virgin variant done by Joshua Middleton. Now, there is a trade dress of this, but this Virgin is hands down amazing. It is so good. Definitely gonna have to find a way to get my hands on this cover because it is, yeah, it is that good in my opinion. And I know the Discord agrees with me because we've already talked about this cover multiple times. All right, guys, next up is Spider Society issue number 1 with the 1 in 100 Virgin ratio variant done by Art Germ. Now, this is not his best. It's not the most incredible Art Germ cover there is, but it's Spider-Gwen. It's Art Germ. It's like a match made in heaven. It is really good. Now, there is a trade dress, so if you don't want to pay the extra money for the ratio, you can obviously just pick up the trade dress. All right, guys, next up, my computer's not working, it's Star Wars Darth Vader issue number 49 with the variant cover done by Dyke Ruan. I'm going to put pretty much every single variant cover that Dyke Ruan does because I think they're so good. And this one featuring Darth Vader, and you got the starships up there. I don't know what they're called. I'm not that big of a Star Wars fan, but this cover looks so good. All right, guys, next up is Vampirella issue number 671. Now, this is an exclusive cover. It is coming from White Dog. Now, the one that's up on screen right now is the Color Splash Virgin variant done by Carler Cohen, but obviously there is a Virgin variant which we've changed the background. It's a little darker, it's a little more mysterious, and this one is also done by Carler Cohen. It's gorgeous. That's 2 exclusives I've shown to you guys on the cover lover list. And guys, there'll be links where you can pick these up down in the comments below. Now, there is another cover. There is Werewolf by Night, issue number 1, the 1 in 50 ratio variant done by Jeff DeCall. Now, this is not his best, I will admit. I'm not absolutely in love with this cover, but it's Jeff DeCall, it's Elsa Bloodstone, it's Werewolf by Night. The werewolf looks freaking epic. There's a giant moon. There's just so much to like about it that, you know what, I cannot not like it. I just don't love it. There's like and there's love, and this one is in the like column. All right, guys, next up is X Factor, issue number 1, with the 1 in 25 ratio variant done by Muhammad Asrar. I love this guy's artwork, and this cover is so good. I like that it's a 1 in 25, even though it is an X-Men book on new number 1, so there's going to be a lot of orders out there, so I'm sure there's going to be plenty of these out there, so it's not going to be rare. You should be able to pick this up probably for around 10 bucks, and I'm definitely going to do it because I love Muhammad Asrar. He's just so good. He's so good. Now, guys, there is another cover. There is X-Men issue number 2, the 1 in 25 ratio variant done by Torrin Clark. It's really good. I really like this cover, and I like that it's a 1 in 25, but guys, there's more. Next up is X-Men issue number 2, the Magic variant done by J. Scott Campbell. Now, I personally am not a huge J. Scott Campbell fan, but this cover right here, how can you not be a fan of it? It is so good. Now, there is a 1 in 100 Virgin ratio variant of this as well. I actually don't like it as much as the trade dress. I think the X-Men kind of adds to it a little bit, maybe? I don't know. I'm going back and forth now on the computer, and yeah, they're both just freaking fantastic. Pick up the one that you can afford and just be happy that you have it. All right, guys. Those are all my cover lover picks for this week, which again is August 14th of 2024. Let's go ahead and move over to the next section, which are the new number 1s that I think you guys have to be excited about. do me a favor. Please do me this favor and smash that like button. It helps the channel out so much, and it pushes this video out to more people, and more eyes just means, you know, we're spreading the comic book love to more people. So guys, do me a favor, smash that like button. All right, guys, let's go ahead and check out those new number ones. All right, guys, like I said, there are 3 new number ones on my pull list this week. Now, 2 I'm not overly excited about, so we're quickly going to uncover, but then we'll talk more about the last one. And the first one up is Spider Society issue number 1. Now, this is coming from the writer of Alex Segura and has art by Scott Godlewski. Now, another Spider-like Society, Spider-Verse type book. I like these books at the start because, you know, I love the Spider characters. I love the variety that they can do in these Spider-Verses, but overall, a lot of these books do end up falling flat and they're not very good. Now, this one is written by Alex Segura. I don't know him very well as a writer, so that's why I'm not overly excited. Scott Godlewski is a pretty good artist, so the art in this book should be pretty good, but I'm not too sure if I should be excited or not because I'm not a huge fan of Alex Segura. Now, guys, the other book that I'm excited, but not too excited about is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Night Watcher issue number 1. Now, this is coming from the writer of Juniba and has art by Ferrero Penichi. I'm probably totally butchering your name. Now, this book is featuring a new-ish turtle character. I guess that he was in the Free Comic Book Day special of last year or this year, and they haven't really gone in deep who this Night Thrasher or Night Watcher character is. So I'm pretty excited to see what this turtle is all about, and I really am enjoying the Robin story written by Juniba. It's a pretty good read. The artwork is fantastic, even though he's not doing the artwork in this book, but overall, it's a turtle book. I'm really excited for the Jason Aaron stuff, and I'm really excited just to see the Turtleverse growing a little bit. All right, guys, the book that I'm really excited about is DC vs. Vampires World War V issue number 1. Now, this is coming from the creative team that did the original DC vs. Vampires book of Matthew Rosenberg and Otto Schmidt. If you did not read the first volume, go back and read it. Every single issue except for the last one was freaking amazing. It was like mind-blowingly good. It was so awesome. There was a spin-off story that was really good as well, also written by Matthew Rosenberg, but they're coming back. We're going back to this Elseworld tale, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait. And the art by Otto Schmidt is freaking amazing. Now, I don't want to ruin the end of it, but there was a hero who ends up getting turned into a vampire, and she takes over as the Vampire Queen. You can take a look at the cover and guess who it is. But the other 2 characters on the cover were big key players in the run. They were absolutely amazing, and I cannot wait. I just can't wait to dive back into this world. Now, there are some really good variant covers for this book. The cover B, done by Steve Beach, is really good. The cover C by Jay Lee is okay. The cover D by Omer, which is the foil, is also just okay, but I really like the cover E, which is the 1 in 25 done by Riley Rusimo. I'm a huge fan of him. It features Damian Wayne. He's a vampire, but he's a good guy vampire, which is absolutely awesome. And the cover F, which is the 1 in 50 done by Nicolas Ajesma, is also a great cover. Features a lot of great heroes on the cover that are not vampires. They're just like, you know, the last men standing kind of thing. It is just, I don't know. I am over the moon excited for this book. I cannot wait. You guys know, if you watch the channel long enough, I love Elseworld tales, and this was one of the best. All right, guys, those are the new number 1s that I'm really excited about. Let's go ahead and cover my top 3 books that I think you guys have to be picking up this week because the stories are the best. All right, guys and girls, the book that's in the number 3 spot is an amazing Marvel book. Now, this is, I believe, the final issue of this current run. I hope there's going to be another run after this because I think this story is just one of the most enjoyable, like, heartfelt stories. And I know that doesn't excite some people, like, you know, they want, like, you know, they're action-packed, gory horror stories, but sometimes I just like a love story. Guys, the book that's in the number 3 spot is The Sensational She-Hulk issue number 10. Now, this is coming from the writer of Rainbow Roll and has art by Andreas Ginolet. I want to say that's how it's pronounced, but this story is just amazing. This is like the 2nd volume of this series, or maybe this 3rd volume. I can't remember. 2nd volume, I want to say. But this has spanned 2 years of time. Actually, 2 years of my life, I've been reading this book from Rainbow Roll, and I think I've enjoyed almost every single issue. There might have been a couple issues in there that I did not love, but the story about this blossoming love between Jennifer Walters and Jack of Hearts has been incredibly done. It's been done so well. And there's been so many character-driven moments of She-Hulk in her in her life that has just been absolutely amazing. And that's the thing this book has covered. It's not just like smash, bang, big, like, you know, action all the time. We see those little moments in Jennifer's life, and it's just so nice. She's a lawyer, and, like, you know, she has struggles at work, and she's fighting with her boss, like we all do. And, you know, she has friends, and, like, you know, her life is so busy, and she has this new relationship. She's not always there for her friends all the time. There's moments that they played on that. She started this, like, you know, punch club, which is really entertaining. The things in it, there's so many great characters that are in that. In issue number 9, there was this great moment with this character that's on the cover. She's like the stone one. I don't remember what her name was, but it was a great little character moment for this person, and they highlighted her for a second, and they gave you like a little backstory. It was so well done. I love stories where there is heart, where there is a constant building element over time. And that element in this has been the love story between Jack of Hearts and She-Hulk, and it has just been so good. And at the end of issue number 9, there was this great moment where She-Hulk was just so exhausted, and she was lying in bed with Jack of Hearts, and she ends up falling asleep on his shoulder, and then he says something to her. I don't want to ruin it for you. You guys can go ahead and read it yourselves, but it was awesome. I cannot wait to read issue number 10. Now, the synopsis says, what is the fate of She-Hulk and Jack of Hearts? Their love has blossomed over the last 2 years of the She-Hulk story, but this issue will define it for the future. And I just hope this is going to continue, because this is one of my favorite reads at Marvel Comics. It really is. And Andreas Gianolet's art is freaking fantastic. The way he draws She-Hulk, I think everyone should like take his inspiration and make that the face of She-Hulk moving forward. Like, don't change it too much, because you don't. This is the epitome of She-Hulk to me. It's perfect. It's perfect. Now, variant covers for this issue. There is a great variant cover done by Joshua Cassar, but she's fighting aliens. It ruins it. I wish this was just an awesome She-Hulk cover, because the way he draws her is fantastic. Another great depiction of She-Hulk, but I don't want it because it's fighting a bunch of aliens. That's silly. And there is a Mariko Andolfo one, which is fine. Her face looks weird on it, and that's why I don't like this one. But overall, this series is a must-have pickup. If you haven't read this yet, pick up Volume 1, wait till Volume 2 gets like collected in one single trade, and pick them both up. I promise, if you like that kind of story of like character-driven stories and with a little bit of love in there, this is gonna be the story for you. All right, guys, that is my number 3 book. Let's go ahead and find out what my number 2 is. All right, guys, the number 2 book is a little independent, and it's the final issue. The final issue. It's also written by my best friend, which is freaking amazing. All right, guys, so the number 2 book is Morning Star issue number 5. Now, this is coming from the writers of Tim Daniel and David Andrew. David Andrew is my best comic book friend writer out there. He's so amazing. This also has art by Marco Finnegan. Guys, this book is amazing. I read issue number 4 yesterday, and it was, I don't know, it was just one of those stories when you read, you felt it in here, and you want to see where it ends, and there's a sci-fi element. Oh, it's so good. But what this story is doing really well, in my opinion, there is a really cool sci-fi element, and that's like heightening the story, but it's dealing with a family that's dealing with grief. They're grieving over the loss of the father of the family, her husband, their dad, and each character is dealing with it in like their own very interesting way. And it is incredible. It's I don't want to tell you guys too much about this story, because I think that would ruin your experience of picking this up and reading it. But if you enjoy like characters overcoming something, because in this one they are overcoming the grief they have for the loss of a loved one. And this loved one was a huge person in their life, their father, their husband. And doing that is not easy. I've lost my mom, and I'm still dealing with that today. Every single day, there's a moment that happens, and I remember my mom, and I want to call her, and I can't. And having that loss and grieving, I don't think I've fully dealt with that. And reading this story, it's like really just brought it home. It like makes me remember that you really need to enjoy the time that you have with the people in your lives right now, because once they're gone, you can't. And it's incredible. This story is just so well done. So well done. And the art by Marco Finnegan is incredible. It's like so good. I think it's the best partnership David Andrew has had as an artist, in my opinion. And Tim Daniel and David Andrew writing as a duo has been fantastic. But this story is so good. This is the final issue, issue number 5. make sure you guys are picking this up. If you haven't picked it up, wait till you can pick it up in trade, or if you can find the single issues, go pick up the single issues. But this, in my opinion, was definitely one of the best stories I read over the weekend. I read issue number 4. Issue number 5 comes out tomorrow. All right, guys, that is my number 2 book. Let's go ahead and find out what number 1 is. All right, guys, the number 1 book is a book that's been on the list over and over and over again, and it will continue to be on this list if the writing stays this good. Guys, it's another story with love in it. I know, I'm a sucker for love. You guys can hate it all you want. If you do, if you love it, guys, let me know down in the comments below, because I love love stories so much. I didn't know this until I guess recently, but I really do enjoy a good love story. But guys, the book that I'm talking about is Vengeance of the Moon Knight, issue number 8. Now, this is coming from the writer of Jed MacKay and has art, issue number 8 will have art by Dev Parmanik. I want to say that's how it's pronounced. But issue number 7, there was so much love in it. There was this great moment between Moon Knight and Cheetah, I want to say her name is, Greer, and they embrace and they have this wonderful moment, and they talk to each other about, like, you know, they have to go fight the vampires, and they're like, you better come back. I didn't just resurrect you for nothing. And oh, it was so good. I shouldn't say for nothing. I only have one resurrection in me, and I just spent it, and it was just so good. The art by Alessandro Cappuccio has been so good. I'm totally butchering that person's last name, but his art has been so good. We have Dev Parmanik stepping in for issue number 8. But if you have not been reading this run, one of the best elements of the story, like I've said multiple over and over and over again, is the character moments in every single issue, because there's big character building moments in every single issue. A lot of them usually tend to focus on building up one character in one issue, and then that story will bleed into the next one, and you'll find another person connected to that same story, and then they'll give that person a big moment, and it's just done so well. This run started with Moon Knight. Now we're on Vengeance of the Moon Knight, and this is going to end, and then we have another Moon Knight story written and drawn by the same creative team. And I cannot wait to continue it and see how the Midnight Mission is going to grow, how all the characters that Moon Knight has lifted up and brought up and like built around him are going to continue to grow. And I hope they become a big part of the Marvel Universe, because if you have not been reading Moon Knight, you are just like missing out on one of the best stories at Marvel Comics right now. I know that's probably like, you know, bananas to some people. Some people are probably reading this and like, oh, it's not that good, but it is that good. I'm telling you, especially if, like I said, you liked character-driven stories. Every single one of these is action-packed, like filled with villains and like just craziness happening, but every single issue has a character-building moment, and that's important. When you can continue to add legacy to a character that has been around as long as Moon Knight and Cheetah, and like you can introduce new characters like Hunter's Moon and Soldier and Reese, there's just amazing. Jed MacKay is just doing an amazing job with this book, and I keep doing this. And what am I, I'm some kind of politician or something? I don't know why. I'm just so excited for this book. Now, there is one really cool variant cover for this. It is done by the main artist of Alessandro Cappuccio. I'm totally butchering your name. I'm sorry, Alessandro, but your cover is absolutely amazing. There is a Giuseppe Camicoli Disco Dazzler variant, which I wish those weren't a thing. Now, and there is also a Salvador LaRocca Marvel and Coca-Cola variant, which is, again, one of those things like, why do we have it? I don't know. But this book is definitely my number 1 read this week. I cannot wait to read it. I cannot wait to see. We're getting closer and closer to the end of this current run, and I cannot wait to start the next one, to see how the whole family is going to blossom and become something truly amazing. All right, guys, that is the number 1 book. Let's go ahead and dive into the not top 3, but the books you gotta see, which are the rest of the books on my pull list. All right, guys, the not top 3, but the books you're going to see is me going over every single book that I did not already talk about that are on my pull list and giving you guys little nuggets of information on why I think you guys should still be picking up these books. All right, guys, first up is Barbaric Born in Blood, issue number 3. Now, I got to be honest with you. I read issue number 2 or 3 weeks ago because it was on my pull list and then it got delayed, and I just, I read it way back when. So I don't exactly remember exactly what's going on in the story, but if you like a funny, bloody, gory, sometimes sexy story about a barbarian that has an axe that can talk and drinks blood and gets drunk off the blood, then you will like this. Oh yeah, and the barbarian always has to do good things. Always. He's like cursed to always do good. It's the best. And he also has two really cool friends. I'm not going to go any more into it, but it's awesome. Next up is Batman and Robin, issue number 12. We are getting closer and closer to the end of Simon DeMeo and Joshua Williams' run on this book. We're getting a new creative team very shortly, but the covers for this book have been absolutely amazing. The interiors have been okay, but overall, this is a really fun Batman and Robin story because it's called Batman and Robin. And the next creative team is going to be Philip Kennedy Johnson, and I can't remember the artist, but PKJ is taking over, and I'm pretty excited to see what he's going to do with this duo. All right, guys, next up is Batman Gotham by Gaslight, The Kryptonian Age, issue number 3. I actually really liked issue number 2. I really didn't love issue number 1, but issue number 2 did a better job of setting up the whole world, and I'm really excited to see where issue number 3 is going to go with it, because at the very end, we get introduced to Wonder Woman, but the Gotham by Gaslight version. So I'm really excited to see what she's going to be like. All right, guys, next up is Geiger, issue number 5. This is coming from the writer of Jeff Johns, art by Gary Frank. This is the second volume of the story, and it's getting better and better with every single issue. And in issue number 4, someone stole Tark's dog, and he went to go find it, and the Knight and Tark were just killing people like crazy. It was awesome. All right, guys, next up is Green Lantern, issue number 14. This is an absolute power tie-in. I'm not loving tie-ins. I really don't. It totally takes away from the main story that the person was trying to tell, but then they get forced into telling a tie-in, and it didn't feel right. It took out of the momentum that I can't remember, Jeremy Adams was writing for Green Lantern. I cannot wait for Absolute Power to get over and Jeremy Adams to get back into telling the story he was. All right, guys, next up is Kill All Immortals, issue number 2. I was hyped for this book, and I still am. Kill All Immortals, issue number 1 was actually a lot of fun. It wasn't the best, but it was a lot of fun. I cannot wait to read issue number 2. Next up, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, issue number 23. He's a vampire now. Cody Ziegler, like I said, he tells like a really good story arc, and then it's like pretty bad, and then good, and then bad, and then good, and then bad, and then this whole blood hunt coming in and like taking over, it really has like taken him away from the story that he was telling, and now he's forced to tell the story that he's a vampire. It's not all that interesting. Cannot wait for him to get cured or do something different and more interesting, because I'm not loving it. Next up, Napalm Lullaby, issue number 6, Rick Remender, Bengal, crazy story. I'm really enjoying it, but it's definitely out there. The art is super fantastic, but every single issue is introducing more and more new elements, and it's a lot to take in. I can see this reading a little better in trade, but the covers have been fantastic. Everything about the look of this book is great. It's just the story is a lot. So just a little heads up, if you're going into this, know that you're going to have to like drink in a lot and analyze and just do a little bit more than just flip and read. All right, guys, next up is Outsiders, issue number 10. I think this book might be cut next time. I'm not loving the story. It's written by 2 writers that I absolutely love, Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly, but the story is just, it's not super. And to stay on this list, you've got to be super. So this is one of the books that I might be cutting. Next up, Precious Metals, issue number 3. Issue number 2 was good. This story would feel, I think, a lot better if I read Little Bird before reading this. This is a prequel to Little Bird, but I feel like I'm a little out of the element right now. The world is crazy. It's really interesting. The art by Ian Bertram is fantastic. It's written by Darcy Van Polgees. His storytelling is great. Like I said, I think I need to read Little Bird and then go back and read this. But I don't have time for that, so I'm just going to continue reading Precious Metal. It still is enjoyable. I'm just not loving it. Now, Spider-Boy, issue number 10 is the book that I did not read. So I don't have much to say about issue number 10. It does look like we're getting some Spider-Verse people in there, but I don't know. Let's continue. Next up, we have Transformers issue number 11. Now, I'm not going to drop this book, but I'm not loving the story. There's so much going on, and it feels a little wacky and out there. I wish this still felt grounded. Like the first 4 or 5 issues felt very grounded, and then it started to spin out and get crazy, and I'm a little lost. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a huge Transformer fan. I was when I was a kid. I'm 43 now. I think the last time I was really into Transformers when I was 12, so it's been a long time. But the story is still good. The artwork by Jorge Corona is fantastic. It's just, I don't know. I'm not loving it, but I'm never going to stop collecting it because it's written by Daniel Warren Johnson. He's one of my favorite writers, so I hope it's going to come back and get better. All right, guys, next up is the Ultimates issue number 3. Issue number 2 was really good. I considered putting this on the list, the top 3 list, because it was really, really enjoyable. We had Captain America, Iron Lad, and Wasp and Giant Man went to free America, and they were attacking the White House, and the guy that was in the White House, I forgot who actually was in the Iron Man suit. It was really cool, and they ended up freeing America, and the whole time, the guy that was, you know, fighting against Captain America and the Wasp and Iron Lad thought he was trying to take over, like, America, but they were actually trying to free America Chavez, which is really cool. It's a great twist. And the last book is X-Men issue number 2, another book that almost made the top 3 list. I didn't love issue number 1, but it was a great setup issue. The one part that I didn't like was all the action stuff. I really enjoyed the story of the X-Men being in this town in Alaska, and the sheriff shows up of this town, and Beast was showing her around their new facility, their new base, and I thought that was really interesting. It was really intriguing. It was Jed MacKay setting up this world, and it was great. But then they kept on cutting to Cyclops and the whole team of X-Men trying to free these X-people from this facility of these new villains, and that was actually the part that I didn't love. I didn't love all the action. I think they could have set up the team a little bit more before diving into all the action. The art is done by Ryan Stegman. Ryan Stegman is great. And on the interior, Cyclops does not look like such a little kid. He definitely looks a little bit more older on the interiors. I don't know why he makes him look like such a baby on the covers. But overall, the story was great. It was a good starting point for this X-Men story. So I'm hoping it's going to get better and better. Get this written by Jed MacKay. All right, guys, that is the not top 3, but the books you're going to see. That's the end of today's video. So let's go ahead and wrap this video up. All right, guys, we are at the end of today's video. Now, there is a good chance that this will be my last video for the week. One and only video. I apologize, but Terrificon is coming up. Stephanie's actually in Texas right now, so I am the sole parent in the house right now, and my job is actually super duper busy right now. So even making this video is going to be a little difficult for me. This might actually drop on Wednesday and not Tuesday. If it does, I apologize to everyone for not getting this out on Tuesday. But like I said, my life is super duper busy, and I got a lot of stuff to prep for Terrificon. I have, like I said, I got a stack like this big of books that I would like to get signed, but I obviously can't do that, so I got to whittle that down. I want to make sure every book is marked with the creators on the creators' names, so when I'm fiddling through books, I know exactly who I'm supposed to give that book to get signed. There's just a lot to do. But I am also going to probably be dropping a channel update video either next week or the week after. It'll be a nice short video. There's not too much changing, but I do want to change the final order cutoff video a little bit. And I want to let you guys know why before I do that. So that will either be coming next week or the following week. But guys, no final order cutoff video this week. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you guys have a great new comic book day. I hope you guys have a great final order cutoff, and I apologize for not having a video for you, but I'll catch you guys next week on the Wednesday pull list. All right, guys, have a good one. I'll catch you after Terrificon, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.